Hot news today.
Trump's 50% tariff on steel and aluminum comes into effect. Trump must facilitate legal challenges of deported Venezuelans, judge. Trump's 50% tariff on steel and aluminum comes into effect. United States has raised tariffs on imported steel and aluminium to 50% beginning Wednesday, according to a White House order signed by President Donald Trump. The decision, framed as a measure to protect domestic industries from foreign dumping, doubles the previous 25% levy imposed on these metals. According to the order, increasing the previously imposed tariffs will provide greater support to these industries and reduce or eliminate the national security threat posed by imports of steel and aluminum articles and their derivative articles. President Trump revealed the decision during a visit to a U.S. steel plant in Pennsylvania last week. At 25%, they can sort of get over that fence. At 50%, they can no longer get over the fence, he told workers. Nobody is going to be able to steal your industry, he added, vowing stronger protection for American manufacturing. What we know so far: steel and aluminium imports are currently taxed at 25%, a rate in place since March 12, when President Trump's order took effect, removing earlier exemptions on steel and raising aluminium tariffs from the levels set in his original 2018 trade measures. While some analysts say Trump's first-term tariffs helped boost domestic steel and aluminium production, others caution that sharp new hikes could disrupt the industry's ability to adapt. Many businesses that depend on imported steel and aluminium are already feeling the effects of Trump's earlier tariffs. The new hikes are expected to push costs even higher. These metals are essential in products like washing machines, consumer electronics, and cars rely on global supply chains, especially the automotive sector. Industries that often. Tariffs on UK imports will remain at 25%, as both countries continue trade talks under an earlier agreement. The hike targets other partners. The European Union has already warned of potential retaliation, saying the move undermines ongoing negotiations. Mexico, a major trading partner, plans to seek an exemption. Its economy minister Marcelo Ebrard argued the new tariffs are unfair, especially since the U.S. exports more steel to Mexico than it imports. It makes no sense, he said. The latest tariff increase adds pressure to trade talks underway since April, when Trump reimposed 10% tariffs across multiple sectors. With the temporary pause on those hikes expiring in early July, diplomats now face a tightening window to reach workable solutions. Source: Business News. Trump must facilitate legal challenges of deported Venezuelans, judge. Ruling says those deported from U.S. under 1798 law have right to challenge their removal and that Trump administration must help. A federal judge in the United States has ruled that Venezuelan immigrants deported to El Salvador under an obscure 1798 law must be given the chance to challenge their removals and detention. The ruling on Wednesday by Judge James Boasberg is the latest setback to President Donald Trump's efforts to use the Alien Enemies Act to quickly expel alleged gang members from the U.S. without due process. Trump initially invoked the wartime law in March, arguing that the presence of the Tren de Aragua gang in the U.S. represented an invasion. Trump's use of the law to fast-track deportations was quickly blocked by Boasberg, but not before two planes carrying 238 deportees had already departed the U.S. for El Salvador. The Trump administration refused the judge's order to turn the plane around. Boasberg has since said he has found probable cause to believe the administration committed contempt of court. Upon landing in El Salvador, the deportees were locked up in El Salvador's terrorism confinement center, known as the Secope prison, as part of a deal with the Trump administration. In Wednesday's order, Boasberg wrote that there was significant evidence indicating that many of the individuals imprisoned in El Salvador are not connected to Tren de Aragua. They thus languish in a foreign prison on flimsy, even frivolous, accusations, Boasberg said. Court documents previously indicated that some of the men may have been deported based only on their tattoos or clothing. Boasberg wrote that the administration plainly deprived the immigrants of a chance to challenge their removals before they were put on flights. He ruled that their cases must now be given the right to be heard before a court, as they would have been if the government had not provided constitutionally inadequate process. That process, which was improperly withheld, must now be afforded to them, Boasberg wrote. Absent this relief, the government could snatch anyone off the street, turn him over to a foreign country, and then effectively foreclose any corrective course of action. The ruling did not expressly order the Trump administration to return the deported people to the U.S. The U.S. Supreme Court previously ruled that people deported under the Alien Enemies Act must be given a chance to challenge their removal, and it paused certain planned deportations that would have been conducted using the law. A case currently being heard by the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals is expected to eventually make its way to the top court for a final decision. Until then, various challenges have played out in lower courts, with 3 federal judges in New York, Texas, and Colorado having so far ruled that Trump's use of the Alien Enemies Act is illegal. A 4th federal judge, in Pennsylvania, has ruled that Trump was within his powers to invoke the law. Trump campaigned on a pledge to conduct a mass deportation of criminal non-citizens living in the U.S., but his efforts have been hampered by legal challenges and backlogged immigration courts. Immigration advocates say that has led the administration to seek various means of fast-tracking deportations, including by circumventing due process.
Thank you for watching. See you tomorrow.